How to sell to Fortune 500 companies isn't about expensive marketing or complicated funnels. It's about aligning your services and expertise to the moments that decision makers are inclined to take action to fix a problem or to take advantage of an opportunity. And stick around, because I'm also going to share with you a mindset pitfall that a lot of even experienced coaches, consultants, and experts fall victim to, and yet it can really stand in the way of amazing opportunities for you to get the work you love out into the world. Fortune 500 companies and other types of organizations like nonprofits, universities and colleges, and mid-market organizations are really profitable clients for your small business to have. But if you're a David who's taking on these Goliaths, you really need to give yourself every potential advantage that you can. And one of those advantages is understanding the moments in time when decision makers are more inclined to buy outside expertise or services. And one of those moments is something called the fresh start effect. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you specifically how you can take advantage of the fresh start effect to make acquiring new clients a lot easier and a lot faster. So first, let's define what the fresh start effect is. Essentially, it's the psychology that humans are more likely to initiate change at the start of a new time marker, like a new quarter, a new fiscal year, or some kind of a turning point. And you're probably familiar with the fresh start effect in your own life, even though nowadays people like to dismiss the idea of a New Year's resolution, largely because humans don't necessarily stick with those New Year's resolutions. There's still something about the start of a new year where folks feel like it's a fresh slate and they want to change something in their life. Maybe it's being more organized, maybe it's being on time, maybe it's being healthier, but it's that idea that there's a fresh slate to take advantage of. Decision makers are the exact same way. There are moments in time when a decision maker feels like there's an opening to create a new experience or to get a new result or to implement a change that otherwise would be difficult given everything else that's going on inside of an organization. So what are some of these moments that would be considered a fresh start effect inside an organization? So what are some of the most common fresh start effects that happen inside of companies? Well, one would be the start of a new year. It doesn't have to be a calendar year. It could be a new fiscal year or the new fiscal quarter. It could be expanding into a new geographic market. A company that's based in North America decides to expand into Europe, for example. It could be opening up a new office location. It could be that a new leader joins the company, or someone inside the company gets promoted into a new leadership position. It could be a new product launch or launching a new service, or it could be a new employee engagement initiative, something designed to transform the company's culture. It could be a merger, an acquisition, or some type of reorganization where the way that the company is structured internally is changing. Those are some of the most common types of fresh starts, but really that's still just the tip of the iceberg. As an outside expert, whether you're a consultant, a leadership coach, or a services provider, it's really incumbent upon you to really study these moments in time that are happening every day, all day, inside of organizations all around the world. You want to be a student of these fresh start moments that are most typical inside of the types of clients that you want to work with and that are most aligned to create an opening for the expertise that you provide to these types of companies. So now that you know what the fresh start effect is and the types of things that could be a fresh start effect for you, the next thing you want to do is really build a list of those things. You want to make sure that you have a list that you can then start incorporating into your marketing materials and the content that you produce. You want to consistently connect what you're doing to those moments in time where it creates the perfect on-ramp for a decision maker to take advantage of your services and your expertise. Another way to look at this is also to think about what an organization does throughout the year. And there are 4 quarters, of course, in the year, and each one of those quarters really presents an opportunity for you to think about the common vibe that's happening inside of organizations for each quarter throughout the year. So let's take a look, for example, at Q1. So Q1 every year for companies is implementation mode. Everything they're doing in Q1 is about launching new programs, initiatives, and efforts inside their companies. Q2 is about gap filling and making necessary adjustments. Typically by Q2, companies are already falling behind schedule on the goals and initiatives that they've had, just like the rest of us are, right? So in Q2, that's what's happening for companies. Q3 is the strategic planning zone. Most companies are starting to move into thinking about the next year. They're lining up what they're doing for the following calendar year. And Q4 usually has a vibe of use it or lose it, where companies are looking at the resources and the budgets that they set aside, and they're thinking, is there a way we can really take advantage of the budget that we still haven't touched so that it doesn't get lost and go to somebody else next year? And again, there's so many more things that you can look at around this. When are the clients that you're working with or that you want to work with doing things like hosting their top leaders meetings, doing new product launches, implementing their IT systems, doing performance evaluations and making promotions of their employees, or going on hiring sprees to bring a lot more people into their organizations? Take a look at the calendar as a whole. The summer months often mean something for one type of company, whereas the holiday months may mean something else. By really studying the seasonality of your clients and the moments that they have big things happening, you can start to relate your expertise to the natural calendar that's going to happen year in and year out. And last but not least, you want to make sure you're connecting the dots between what you do and those moments in time. If a company is launching a new product, how could your expertise be of value? You know, we talk to a lot of leadership coaches and consultants who say, I have nothing to do with a new product launch. But that's not true, because think about what happens in a new product launch. New people are stepping into leadership positions to make that product launch a success. That project team is having to coordinate with people all over the organization, and communication breakdowns can happen, as well as areas of conflict. If you're a leadership coach, there are many opportunities in a product launch for you to step in and help those leaders at the helm of that project to be successful in their role as a leader, as well as to help the product team be more successful in the way they collaborate and communicate with one another. Every single thing that's happening inside of companies always has challenges that are people related and process related. And so whatever you do, you can make it relevant to those moments in time, those fresh start effects. And by doing that, it's really going to help decision makers understand how to take advantage of the expertise and the services that you have to offer. So here's the big mindset mistake I promise to share with you. And that is, a lot of consultants, trainers, and coaches and other service providers think that because what they do is so valuable and has such a clear benefit in their eyes, that of course decision makers and organizations are going to take advantage of it. The fact is that organizations are so busy and they have so many competing priorities that they're only able to really focus on the things that they've already decided are a priority for their organization. They've decided what's made the cut for the year. And so instead of trying to convince decision makers that what you offer is something that should be added to their plate, it's much better for you to incorporate the broccoli into the mashed potatoes. You want to figure out what's already on their plate and bring your expertise to them in that way versus bringing it as a separate initiative. That's going to feel like a lot more work and a lot more budget that they don't really have the bandwidth for. So remember, you don't want to try to add something new to a decision maker's plate. Instead, you want to take your expertise and make it relevant to all the things they're already working on. When you do that, you're going to be a lot more successful in getting in front of decision makers and turning that engagement into paying opportunities for your business. So that's how to connect what you're doing to the things that organizations are working on right now. Now that you know how to do that, you can actually use that insight in order to write a really compelling email to open doors to conversations with decision makers. And I have a video walking through how to use the fresh start effect with an outbound email to get those meetings set up. I've dropped the link in the description below, so click on that now and I will meet you there.